Hi, it's Leah Richheimer for the Ladies Talk Show. We have an amazing show today. We are going to go right in. We are on chapter 4, page 84, and we're going to talk about making things clear for your husband. So clear, simple directions. Don't expect, oh wait, I want to show the thing. Is that right? That's good? Yeah, you can see it. Okay, let's see if don't expect overnight miracles. The transition does take time. There may be much water under the bridge that has to be dealt with as you begin anew. So this is basically you've separated your wants from your needs. You've prioritized them. You really are understanding what your own needs are, and then you're communicating them to your husband. Okay, so don't expect miracles. But at least you know that your hishtadlus, the efforts you put into doing this, will actually result in your having some of your deepest needs met. With your newfound clarity, your wants will lessen their grip on you and won't be as demanding in general. Oh, and you won't be as demanding as in general, creating a good environment for your husband's love to grow. Your husband is accustomed to a laundry list of demands and wants and needs, in a pressure cooker environment. Now he'll get clarity. 3 genuine needs. Men have an extraordinary way of responding to clear, simple directions. They are standing by to deliver. The big question we need to ask ourselves is, are we emotionally prepared to receive their efforts to make us happy? When we first got married, I was a big pouter. Oh gosh, I have to tell one on myself. I was a big pouter. I assumed that when you were upset about something, the obvious strategy was that you gave your husband the silent treatment. Hello. Okay. I went into my sparring corner and left him as he stood. He would then have to work very hard to extract information as to why I was upset. Of course, I could have won an acting award for my feigning difference to his plight as I continued to insist, nothing's wrong, dear. Okay. Anyway, it came as quite a shock to me that the proper behavior was to actually tell my husband what was wrong, right in the middle of the incident, as if the two of us were actually on civil terms instead of lacing up our boxing gloves. Wasn't he now the enemy? And I was supposed to actually give him information that would allow him to be close to me when I was right in the middle of pushing him away? You've got to be kidding me. It took me many years to be able to express what was upsetting me without playing games and torturing my poor husband. To this day, I still often need to say that I need a few minutes to think, and I will explain what's bothering me in a little while. It usually takes me a bit of time to, I process slowly, I guess. It usually takes me a bit of time to identify my feelings and then to think of how best to present them without clobbering him. But at least by telling him I need to think for a while, there's an acknowledgement that we're on the same team. This learned ability translated into sharing lots of my needs with him. I no longer play the martyr and insist that nothing is wrong, dear. More importantly, I've come to recognize that the only true way to get the best out of me and out of my husband is to focus and to ask for what I truly need. If we ask for a few dozen things, our husband's task becomes impossible and he loses all motivation. However, if we narrow down our list down, our husband can actually succeed in meeting those needs, and the flow of love will increase. This is guaranteed, by the way, BT dubs. The Vilna Gaon teaches that the reason Hashem created us in the first place is to work on ourselves, to grow and to be the best people we can be. Further, the Shalah HaKodesh teaches that correcting one's defects is the very reason our soul is sent to the world. So whether or not our husband does his part to meet our needs, our task is to work on ourselves regardless of his actions. And part of that task is minimizing our demands by gaining clarity about our true needs. It's so easy to blame our husbands for not meeting our needs. Instead, perhaps we can think, this is what God gave me, and pray that we should be satisfied with it. As we learn from Pirkei Avos, it is a great accomplishment to be happy with our portion. By recognizing and minimizing our demands, it will help us to be more content with our lives. Changing your husband. Ronnie and Orna have been married for over 30 years, and after so many years of Orna trying to change him, Ronnie is still perennially late. Orna just got used to feeling aggravated about it. The big question is, what if she truly needs her husband to be on time? As an Ezer Kenegdo, we are mandated to help our husband to grow, but there's such a fine line between encouraging growth versus nagging. At what point does a wife stop pushing her husband about certain issues and just accept him for who he is? In order to determine whether this is a battle worth continuing to work on, Orna needs to prioritize her top needs. very likely she will discover that there are 10 needs she has that are far more important to her husband to her than her husband being on time. Yes, it's annoying, but once she sees how it stacks up against her other needs, as well as taking into consideration her husband's many other good qualities, she can intellectually understand that fighting this battle just isn't worth it. And rather than getting agitated and bearing a grudge, letting go and accepting his tardiness would diffuse much tension in the marriage. Breaking the habit of being annoyed about something that has bothered us for many years isn't easy, but when there's a big enough payoff, getting our other more important needs met in exchanging for letting go of this one, we can be incredibly motivated. Prioritizing is a skill we can truly master as we get more mature over time. Learning to accept the things we cannot change or the things we don't want to expend the energy to try to change is all part of our growth. Orna's work in this case would be to work on herself to make this less of a need. Rabbi Gershon Bess explains, one has to rely on the Bini Yisera of a woman to know when her efforts are not working, and she has to either accept him for who he is or seek other methods to try to get him to change. Okay, we're all yours. Go ahead, Ilana, what are the questions coming in?
I don't know. I think a lot of people are going to have stuff to say about changing their husbands. Okay. I have a question here from Gila saying, our whole marriage, I've never asked for anything from my husband, and I've always tried to take care of myself. My husband is so used to just not paying attention to what I need that I feel like it'll be too hard to him to adjust to trying to meet my needs.
I hear a really good question. I'm just being honest with you, kind of makes me a little sad because this whole secular society that has our focus be independent and I don't need anybody and I'm fine the way I am has created such havoc in a marriage. It's so upside down. We need each other. There's no such thing as independence. It's interdependence. And we need each other. We need our husbands. I had a woman write me a question the other day, and she said, Leah, I don't understand what the purpose of a man is. I don't mean to be disrespectful, and I'm not a mean person. I just don't. Can you please explain it to me? Because I don't get it. I didn't know even what to say. I said, 100% of the bracha in your home is from your husband. End of story. And I said, that sounds very horrible, except for one thing. Now it gives you access to receiving unlimited bracha from Shemayim, from God himself, by receiving from your husband. So I don't even know what to say about that. So here we are. She's been independent for so long, and she thinks it's a fine scenario because her husband, she doesn't need him. He's fine. But meanwhile, she's missing the most important aspect of being alive, which is to get closer and closer to her husband and closer to God. And that's not going to happen in a independent, you do your thing, I'll do mine. And that works maybe okay until some crisis hits, and then there's no foundation. The house is sitting on a bunch of mud. So there has to be this whole deep understanding and spiritual understanding of how God runs the world, which is that the husband is the giver and the wife is the receiver. And there is nothing that is going on that she owns, that she has in her home, that is not completely given to her from her husband, meaning the clothes that she's wearing, the floor, the walls, the windows, the bedclothes, her children, her the fact that the car didn't break down, the fact that emotional, spiritual, every way, everything that comes, every bracha, every blessing that is in her life is 100% from her husband and nowhere else. Someone says to me, "Oh, Leah, come on, I'm doing mitzvahs all day long." That's accruing to me. It's accruing to our family, and it's true. And Rav Asher Weiss said, when I told him this, he said, yeah, she can accrue a lot of mitzvahs, and up in Shemayim, she can have a lot going. She can have a lot of merit sitting there, but it can't come down into the home unless it's through her husband. Rav Moshe Cordovero gives over all bracha comes from Shemayim through the husband and to the wife. So the only way she can get that bracha is if it's from her husband. This is very scary news, but it's also very awesome news, because guess what? All it means, how do you bring more blessing into your life? receiving it from your husband by saying thank you for everything he does and appreciating from him for all the blessing. And this is what I told that woman who said, what's a man for? I was like, hello, it's just a complete misunderstanding of how the world works. And as hard as this might be to hear, especially if you're hearing it for the first time, here's the beauty of it. Now you know how to bring as maximum amount of blessing into your home. And that's by appreciating your husband. And we'll get into this in further chapters, but just be on notice that it might be turn your worldview upside down, but for the good. You're going to see more blessing in your home, guaranteed. Okay, good question. Go ahead, Ilana. What's the next question? Did I answer that one?
So you did. There was a piece to it that you said she's afraid her husband is going to be too used to her just taking care of herself. It'll be too hard for him to adjust.
Right. Thank you for clarifying. Yeah. So the issue there is a man is bursting at the seams, wanting to give to his wife. And maybe he's had to hold it in for all these years out of habit and out of nagging and, whatever is a defense mechanism and apathy and giving up because he tried to give and wasn't received, So the minute a woman opens up the door to be a receiver, that's what I spend my life doing, is teaching women to be receivers. When a woman opens that door and starts to receive a little bit, the man is like, whoa, he just feels like his purpose for being alive is being met. His ability, he's there's a yucky interpretation, it's like a cow needing to be milked, like, so he
Where's your cowbell, Leah?
Well, yeah, where's my cowbell? Someone messed everything. Oh, there it is over there. Someone messed my whole desk up. They cleaned it up. Thank you. Anyway, my cowbell's over there. But the thing is that it's understanding that a man just wants to give. That's what he was born for, and that's what he wants to do. That's how God created him. And once she starts receiving, it's not going to be too much of a problem. Don't worry. Just try this at home. Okay, good. Next question.
Okay, so this is from Rahi. She really liked your point about the silent treatment. And she said, I'm an avid silent treatment user. And although I tell myself I do it so I can think before I speak and not say something I would regret, I think deep down I'm also trying to punish my husband for whatever he did that made me upset. How do I correct this? Even if my husband meets my needs, there's still going to be some issues and arguments. That's just marriage. Is this idea truly the foundation of Shalom Bayis?
Is what issue?
I think she means the meeting needs. She wants to know if he meets his need. Yeah, if he meets my needs, then will I no longer have the need to do the silent treatment?
So the silent treatment, just so you know, is just a bad habit. That's it. There's no, it's complete wrong thinking. Like anyone can tell you, like you can think in your head, is the silent treatment going to cause more damage or more closeness? Duh, like it's going to cause damage. Like it's totally obvious, but we don't think about it. We just are sitting doing what we know or what's in a habit or what we saw other people do, and so the issue about the silent treatment is that it's extremely destructive because it's, as I said, as we just read, it was like pushing somebody away at a time. It never dawned on me that you'd want to bring someone closer when they're annoying you or they're disagreeing with you, So doing that introspection to find out why you do the silent treatment, and kol hakavod to you for owning up to who you are and what you're going through and the issues that you're facing and being willing to sort of acknowledge your own brokenness in your dysfunction or what's not working, your ability to examine it and change it. Our hats are off to you, all of us, like go you. So very, very powerful, very proud of you. And your question about what's the quickest way around it is to actually acknowledge it. This is the quickest way, not the easiest way. So I'm going to tell you the quickest way, and then I'll tell you some easier ways. But the quickest way is to say to your husband, I always give the silent treatment because that's just sort of a habit. And that's what I learned, I learned it from, don't Lashon Hara somebody, but that's what I learned, or that's what I saw growing up, or from somebody, but now in second thought, when I'm thinking about it, it's really not the most productive. I don't know other ways around it. So there's going to be a learning curve, but I'd like to, over the course of the next year, not be that person. I'd like to grow into the person who doesn't give the silent treatment. So, I need you as a partner in that. If you wag your finger at me and say, you're giving me the silent treatment, see, you're bad, that won't be productive. But on the other hand, me divulging this to you and being vulnerable lets you know that I'm aware of it. And I might even say, I'm feeling the urge to give you a silent treatment right now. I just need some space to think, he'll get it, because you're now on the same team trying to solve something that makes the two of you closer. So that's again the fastest, most efficient way to do it. The easier way to do it would be to, on yourself, when you see yourself going into the silent treatment thing, go to the notebook that you've done beforehand that says, when you feel like giving the silent treatment, here are 10 things you can do. Number 1, say, I need space to think. Number 2, say, I need to go for a walk. Number 3, say, I'm feeling the need to give you the silent treatment. I just need time to think. Number 4, write down all these answers for yourself in a notebook. So when you get into that emotional state that nobody wants to get out of, when you ever notice when you're like, it's like you just want to be and let it burn you up into a French toast, it's hard to sort of snap yourself out of it. But you could go read a notebook that says, some strategies that you've thought of beforehand. And then with a little bit of practice, more and more, you can grow yourself in that. Everything takes time, you shouldn't beat yourself up about it. As they say, it's not whether you're going, where you are on the ladder, it's are you going up or are you going down? So you need to work on these things, but think about the strategy of how you're going to best do it. And that's your fastest way to not being a silent treatmenter. The thing about the silent treatment, just so you know, because sometimes when you come in contact with the cost of what you're doing, it's very motivational to stop. And if you think of silent treatment as kind of abuse, like think of it on the other side. We all know this thing, everybody's ghosting everybody now, so if two people are dating, they're having a great time, and then she says, I just don't want to date you anymore, whatever, and then he texts her and emails and doesn't know why she broke up with him, but she did, and now she's ghosted him and disappeared off the face of the earth. It's a very, very cruel modern thing that grew into somehow, I don't know how it ever became acceptable. We should all be crying our eyes out that this is how people treat human beings. It's just the pain of a breakup is bad enough, but can you imagine? Then the person just disappears and doesn't even acknowledge your existence. It's very painful, but a little bit like giving someone the silent treatment is a little bit like ghosting them. Like there's no you there. There's no connection. There's no potential for connection. So it's a violent action. In a way. So I'm just saying it caused a lot of damage in the relationship. And the only reason I'm saying this, I get where you're going, and you were so beautiful how you opened up who you are and owned up to who you are. And I'm just saying this added a little nakuda, this little thing to help strengthen you in not doing it. I don't need to make you feel bad, but it just so that you see the damage is done will maybe help you, motivate you, and keep you strong, so that when you're having that urge to silent treatment, you go to your journal, or you acknowledge to your husband, this is how I'm feeling now. I don't really know how to deal with it. Hopefully over the course of the year, I'll get better and better. As me now, I'm a reformed whatever. Hi, my name's Leah Richheimer. I'm a silent treatmenter. But so my reform is now sometimes I get so upset and I just say, I'm super upset. I just need processing time. That's maintaining a connection while giving me the space I need. Good luck to you. God should bless you and give you strength. Okay, next question, Alana. Good questions.
Okay, yeah, we've got some great questions here. Danielle says, my husband curses even in front of the children. It's not a need of mine that he doesn't curse, but at the same time, I think it's very important for him to stop, especially because I do not want my children to use bad language. I've expressed my concern about it many times, but he hasn't changed. Should I just let it go since it's not a need of mine for a happy, healthy marriage, but just a want? It doesn't bother me when he curses in front of me when we're alone, but only when it's in front of the kids.
I missed one sentence. You said a lot. The second to last sentence, what? When he what?
It doesn't bother me when he curses in front of me when we're alone.
No,
Only
the sentence right before that.
Should I let it go since it's not a need of mine for a happy, healthy marriage, just a want?
Oh, just a want. Okay, that's the word I missed. Okay, fine. I knew that was good. Yeah, so I get it. So we haven't got to the whole chapter on communication yet. So I'm not sure what she's communicated to him before. What's her name again?
Danielle.
Danielle. Yeah. So Danielle, I don't know how you communicated. If you've communicated by saying, it bothers me when you swear. And he's like, well, I'm sorry, I can't help it. Whatever. If that was the communication, that's not going to do it. But on the other hand, if, after we do the communication section, it could, if you said to him something like, I get, we all have our habits, whatever. I'm sure I've got 20 the habits that are annoying to you or whatever. And I would work on them if they bother you enough or whatever. But my question to you is, do you want to be a father who swears in front of his kids? If you say, yeah, they need to learn the real world or whatever. Okay, that's one thing. But if you say, I'd prefer not, then you take the whole problem and you put it in your husband's lap and say, what do you think we should do about this? How do you think we can solve this? Rather than you being his police and saying, oh, this is what you need to do. And, it bothers me and blah, blah, blah. If you, find out what he wants. If he says, yeah, they need to live with swearing, then you're kind of stuck. You might be kind of stuck. You might, again, it could be that you say, okay, I hear that, but for me, I just feel like I want my kids to be wholesome, and the swearing, I feel like it's degrading for them. I want them to look up to you as much as possible and not to have reason to, especially when kids turn into teenagers, they have every reason in the book to put their parents down and to look down on them or whatever. I don't want that to be between us. I don't want that dynamic to be in our family. What do you think we can do? So it could be you can have conversations with him that can talk him into it. But again, it all comes down to how you say it. And are you on his side? Are you putting him on the defensive and telling him what he does is bad and wrong, and he should really think about this and what the ramifications in the future and whatever. That's going to backfire a million times. But if you're like, here's our issue, it's not the biggest issue in the world. You're meeting my needs. I'm the happiest wife ever, whatever. This is a side issue that I want to at least have an understanding about it, which hopefully he'll be open to. Again, it all depends on how you're saying it to him and what the outcome you're looking for and the timing that you give to him. We'll discuss those hot, how to say it, the outcome desired, and the timing. We'll go over that in later shows. But right now, the key is to be able to do it like as a, here's our issue, how are we going to solve it? Not, I'm good, you're bad, and you better do what I say. Okay, go ahead, Alana. What's the next question?
Okay, here's a little bit of an intense one here from Basia.
From who?
Basia.
Basia. Okay.
Why is it too much to ask for a whole list of things from my hubby? I do at least as much as what I'm asking him to do.
Mm-hmm. So she's saying that she does so much for him. Why shouldn't he do so much for her?
Or why shouldn't she be able to ask so many more things of him when it's not like she's asking him for more than what she's already doing for him?
So we have when a wife is looking for what she can get from her husband, and a husband is looking from what he can get from his wife, you'll end up with a get. So it's ouch. The secret to a level of closeness that we all want is the act of giving, not of getting. You know, people say, you know, someone just first married, you know, they're dating something, whatever. And what are they constantly thinking? What can I do for him? Let me make him cookies. And, oh, you know, oh, he wants this one sitting at the head table at the wedding. Fine. You know, whatever. We just like constantly, we're in, you know, in infatuation, and we're in just this high, and we just want to do everything we possibly can for him. And he wants to do everything he can for us. He wants to get us the right jewelry. He wants to get right. Then they get married, and the day after the marriage, this is Rev Avigdor Miller talks about, you know, that after they get married, then it's like, not what can I give him, but what are his obligations to me? You know, what's he going to do for me today? And he said, Rev Avigdor Miller says, the minute a person starts thinking about what is he going to do for me is the day you know, the happiness starts to decline. And rather than thinking about what I can get, it's what I can give. So to answer this question, the woman, you know, is feeling like I'm giving so much to him. So why shouldn't I get why shouldn't I get? And that's a bad road to go down. Once you go down that dark tunnel with no cheese, you know, what her better thinking is that I don't, you know, it's kind of like they say that another person's gashmias is your ruchnias, meaning, you know, if you're taking care of other people, so you're like, well, how holy and spiritual it could be. I'm feeding them food. Somebody comes to the door, they don't have any money for food, and I give them money for food. You know, that's not a spiritual thing. But no. Their ruchnias, their gashmias, their need for physical sustenance is your spiritual thing that you're giving to them. And so the same thing here is that, you know, your husband might have his needs, or he might have many wants and many needs, and you're doing a million different things for him. Good on you. That's great. That's your job. Okay. And here's the thing. And the benefit you get from that job is all the bracha that your husband brings into it. You get security, you get satisfaction, you get closeness, you get comfort, you get companionship, you get to be cherished and to be loved, and to be a husband who's devoted to you. Okay. This is you. It's not like you're doing all those things and you're getting nothing. You're getting everything. Right? So that's completely separate from understanding your needs and your wants. And I'm telling you right now that by saying, I want him to do it all, my whole notebook full of stuff, I do so much for him, he should also do for me. He's never going to be able to do that. He's never going to be able to have the satisfaction of giving to you and feeling like a good husband. And you're never going to have the satisfaction of feeling like your deepest needs are met. So that's why we do the work on this. It's a very, very good question. It's a valid question, but I'm telling you right now, your key to having the satisfaction you need and want that we want and need in our lives is understanding our needs and being able to communicate them and have them met, and then let all the wants go hither thither. Is that the right word? Okay. All right. I think we're out of time. Right? Are we out of time? I will have to give the homework. Oh, I have 2 minutes. Okay, so let me just give the homework. So the homework for this week is to have a deep clarity, to prioritize your list, and then to be able to communicate at least one thing, unless you feel like it's going to be a disaster. But if you want to communicate one thing, better yet, even if you lessen your wants and stop demanding all the wants and just focus on the one need, that would be a step in the right direction. So try one little baby step this week, and we'll see you next week. Let us know how it goes. info@ladiestalkshow.com. Let us know how you're doing, how you're progressing. We'd love to hear from you. Okay, it's Leah Richheim. We'll see you next time.